To help illustrate the use of XML in data exchanges, we've set up a small demonstration system. Now, the system actually runs on a couple of different computers, and they pass information back and forth. It's a fictional system, but it's a functional system. Now, I want to stress one thing. The screens you're about to see are indeed real. They're actually programs running on real live computers, and they really are exchanging information. But that said, this is not a set system that you would go out and buy. This is not available in stores. This is just a demonstration system. While it really does exchange information, this isn't something you go and buy from us. Instead, you would develop your own systems to do whatever sort of information exchange you wanted to do, or buy something from a vendor. But we're not the vendor, and this isn't something you actually go out and buy from us. In this particular demonstration, we'll exchange information between a court and a treatment provider. The court will send a request for an assessment to the treatment provider, and then the treatment provider, after doing the assessment, will return the results of that assessment back to the court. And the exchange each way uses XML. An interesting part of this demonstration system is it will show you the XML that it's actually sending. Not something a real-life system would do, obviously, but because this is a demonstration, you'll actually see the XML. So, take a peek. So this is our demonstration system for information sharing. What we've done is written up two small systems, each running on a different server, one to act as a court and one to act as a treatment provider. And they'll share information back and forth using XML. A very simple amount of information, but it's just a demo system. Right now we're looking at the court side of it, the list of cases. And as you can see, there's two cases listed here, and the names are just people involved in the project. One of them is me. If we switch over quickly to the treatment provider system, which again is on a different system entirely, these two systems are not directly connected other than both being on the internet, we'll see no cases are yet available. And that's because we haven't made a request from the treatment provider of any sort yet. So we'll switch back over to the court side, and we'll pick one of the cases, and we'll just pick me. And what we get is a list of the case details for this particular case. You'll see it has the made-up case number, and it has my name there. There's also information as to whether there's been an assessment summary and a treatment plan yet, and those are both filled with none because we haven't had one yet. There is an assessment request date, which is also set to none because we haven't requested it, and of course, since we haven't requested it, we haven't received one either, so that one says none as well. So we'll continue on and actually request an assessment from the treatment provider. So we just click on the button, and we'll get this screen that number one, confirms that a request has been sent, and it actually has. An XML request has been sent from this system to the system that's acting as the treatment provider. And what we also have on this screen is something you wouldn't see in a real system. That's the actual XML that makes up the exchange. The text you see there is the actual literal text that was sent over to the treatment provider. And then at the treatment provider, that will parse the information out of it. And how will it do that? Well, it'll look at the different tags there. As you can see highlighted, we've got the case number inside tags that say case number. The same thing for the last name and the first name. So the data is intelligently tagged with tags that describe what the data actually is. And that makes it easy for the other system to pull these pieces apart and actually extract the data. And we'll go back and look back at our case display. And when we bring that up, we'll see that now the only information that's changed is the assessment requested date. That now says the date and time at which I actually pressed the button while I was recording the screencast. So we can jump over to the other system, and first thing we have to do is refresh the screen to get the latest information. And we'll see that now it has the case that we sent across. So it's got the same case number and last name and first name. And if we want to, we can view the case details for that, which is what we want to do. And when we look at the case details, we'll see a screen very similar to the court screen. We'll see the case number, and actually it's exactly the same as the court screen. And now it says it's just a little bit different. It has the case number, has the last name and the first name. Again, it has nothing for the assessment summary or treatment plan because we haven't entered that yet. We have the assessment requested date, which is the date it came from the court system. And as you'll see, the timestamp is almost exactly the same because it really takes a split second to transfer that amount of data over the internet from one system to the other. And you'll see no assessment performed and no assessment sent yet either because we haven't filled that information out. So let's scroll down. We can actually fill it in. And we do that just by typing the information into these boxes. Very simple to do. But once we add all that information in there, then we hit the update the assessment information. And we get a little page that says, hey, we did it. and we can just click to go back to the display, see it updated. And now you see the information we actually typed into those boxes, substance abuse and substance abuse treatment and natural support systems, is entered into the system. Basically, it's in the system's internal database. It has that information. Now, right now, it's just holding it, and we could change that, update it as much as we want. But we're not going to do that quite yet. We also can see that the assessment performed data has now been filled in with a timestamp as to when I actually filled in that data. And if we updated it, it would change the date for that. But again, you see it says none for assessment sent because we haven't actually sent it back. So we should probably do that. We can do that just by hitting the send response to court, and what we will get is a screen similar to what we saw on the court side. Again, it's got the XML that got sent back to the court. Now, at this point in time, now the court actually has this. The response has gone back to the court system, again, on a different computer and server entirely over the internet. It's a little bit longer now, though, because the document, the message we sent, has a little more information. As you can see, it still has the case number and the name information, but now it also has the assessment summary and the treatment plan, and there's the text you can see in between the tags. That's the same text that we typed into those boxes. So again, the tags describe what kind of data it is. That makes it easy for the court to then parse this data, take the information out of the tags, and put it into their own system. Let's quickly go back and see if there's any change to the case details here at the treatment end, and you'll see there is. The only change is the assessment data has now had the timestamp for when we actually sent that information back to the court. And now if we switch back over to the court system and refresh it quickly so that we get the latest information, we'll see that things have been filled in now. First of all, the assessment received date's been updated. Nearly exactly the same timestamp, to the second is the same timestamp, as the sent date and time at the other system. It took less than a second for the information to come back. And so there's a timestamp. And then you also see the assessment summary and treatment plan information has also been parsed out of that XML message and entered into the system. Information went from the court all the way over to the treatment provider. The treatment provider parsed it out using the tags that describe what the information is. Then at that end, the assessment information was entered into the system, and then it was sent back as another information exchange back to the court, where the court then parsed out the information, filling in its database with that information, and then displaying it on the system here. And so we have two different systems able to send information back and forth using XML.